to do and wants to put a burden on me. Allah's rahmah. كَتَبَ عَلَى نَفْسِ الرَّحْمَةِ. Allah says, I have made obligatory on myself infinite mercy upon this entire creation. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will put me into this burden for the sake of being burdened? Not at all. But I don't want to go into a tangent into this whole discussion about trials. I want us to understand that Allah did not create shaitan to create havoc for me. Allah's design is not that He made the roads very slippery lest I should fall and go to hell. It is not the decree of Allah. You might say, but God created everything. Are you telling me all of this other evil stuff that came out and all the problems and all the tricks and trials that we have in this world is not Allah? Let's get it straight. Allah says, قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ الْفَلَقِ مِنْ شَرِّ مَا خَلَقَ. Say, I seek refuge with the Lord of Dawn by the evil which He created. Now here's an interesting one. مِنْ شَرِّ مَا خَلَقَ. You say, here, God created evil. What Allah means shar here is the potential through free will for me to reject Him. That's shar. Meaning Allah doesn't want me to choose the wrong. But the nature of free will, if there was no such thing as me having the ability to reject something, then where is free will? If you and I look and think about ourselves, the greatest dignity and glory to mankind is not his 2 eyes, or his 2 hands, or his 2 legs. It is his power of free will. The ability to decipher wrong from right, and you give me the opportunity to choose my own destiny, is a great honor that Allah has given mankind. وَلَقَدْ كَرَّمْنَا بَنِي آدَمَ. Allah says in the Quran that we have indeed elevated mankind. What sort of elevation could you and I ever conceive of if it's not through free will? And if free will necessitates one's ability to reject. So when Allah says, مِنْ شَرِّ مَا خَلَقَ, meaning He has given me an environment by which to deny Him. But there is a preponderance of information, preponderance of proofs to avoid it. And Allah says, I have guided you. How many times we have guided you? Subhanallah, the Quran is constant. أَلَمْ نَجْعَلْ لَهُ عَيْنَيْنِ وَلِسَانًا وَشَفَتَيْنِ وَهَدَيْنَاهُ النَّجْدَيْنِ. Did we not give you these 2 lips and a tongue? Did we not guide you? We have guided you. How much guidance do you want? You might ask, what do you mean this guidance? What are we talking about? How come there's so many disbelievers? This is what I mean by going to that initial template. وَنَفْسٍ وَمَا سَوَّاهَا. If you look at that level, you'll see no human being is misguided. No human being. I was watching an atheist talk the other day, being interviewed. He said people created God. Religions have made a God. Look at this notion. Mankind has made a God. Why? Because he needs consolation. I said, what absurd thought is this? If my very soul is in need of a moral standard, if my very soul is in need of guidance, if my very soul understands that a moral being is better than an immoral being, have we created a God, or has God created this in us? Put the 2 together and see, with those who don't believe in God, they have no evidence that God did not create the universe. How did they become so sure that Allah is not there? There is no such thing as total atheism. It's impossible. There's not an atheist who has an answer to where the universe came from. So how did they conclude there is no God? At least we know we exist, because there has to be a maker. We are better on that pathway. But what is at the base level is this promotion of good and forbiddance of evil. Even that very one who says God doesn't exist will insist on you that we should do good things. Why is it so fixed? Why is that not evolving? Even evolution, when we talk about evolution and the principles of evolution, when we look at the laws of probability according to those who try to propose it, insist that evolutionary models move towards improvement, meaning towards the greater good. Why is it fixed? Why is that not evolving? Allah says, this is my system. فِطْرَةَ اللَّهِ الَّتِي فَطَرَ النَّاسَ عَلَيْهَا لَا تَبْدِيلَ لِخَلْقِ اللَّهِ. This is my creation. You take it as you want. So to get back to this idea of shaitan, God did not create what we call an antithesis to me, to bother me for the sake of bothering me so I should go to hell. Allah's justice system is at a balance. For he has empowered me the ability to reject even the most tyrant of tyrants, which is why we are commemorating Karbala. If you and I have any doubts that how come this trial is so difficult, Allah says, I'm going to give you role models. I want you to look at them. The messenger to you is your best role model. لَقَدْ كَانَ لَكُمْ فِي رَسُولِ اللَّهِ أُسْوَةٌ حَسَنَةٌ قُلْ إِن كُنتُمْ تُحِبُّونَ اللَّهَ فَاتَّبِعُونِي يُحْبِبْكُمُ اللَّهُ وَيَغْفِرْ لَكُمْ ذُنُوبَكُمْ. If you claim to love God, the Prophet is saying, Allah is saying to the Prophet, tell them, follow me. God will forgive you and love you. This is the role model we're talking about. At the end of the day, people can talk whatever they want. Bottom line is this. Now you go out into the world and look for any role model you can possibly find. You will not find a single role model. A human being that has established justice, equity, and peace on earth with such dignity as the Holy Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. The world tries to belittle him. There are people who have written nasty books against him. Yesterday I was listening to an interview with Salman Rushdie and Bill Moyers. It made me sick to the stomach, but it's okay. For there is a prevalence of ignorance out there. While I hear Bill Moyers speaking and I hear Salman Rushdie speaking, I see in his eyes, this man is so lost. He thinks he knows the way. This is the one who said, غَيْرِ الْمَغْضُوبِ عَلَيْهِمْ وَلَا الضَّالِّينَ. God is saying to me, اهدنا الصراط المستقيم. Guide me on the صراط المستقيم. صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم. On the pathway of those you have chosen, not these who are lost, who think that they're so smart. That they have to write satires against the Holy Prophet, and they have to make rubbish statements. If they are truly promoters of good, and truly forbidders of evil, and truly in a stasis, and they are truly firm in their belief that God does not exist, at least do us a favor and don't write nasty books against others. Because it's human nature that even me as a Muslim, if I enter even to a Hindu temple, Allah said, respect them. Allah said, لا إكراه في الدين قد تبين الرشد من الغي. There is no compulsion in religion. Truth is clear from error. So when a Christian is claiming that Jesus is the Son of God, don't condemn him, don't make fun of him. Talk about the issues and tell them they are wrong. Let's come to an equitable agreement. قُلْ يَا أَهْلَ الْكِتَابِ تَعَالَوْا إِلَى كَلِمَةٍ سَوَاءٍ بَيْنَنَا وَبَيْنَكُمْ أَنْ لَا تَعْبُدُوا إِلَّا اللَّهِ. This is deen of Allah. Not when you write satires and make rubbish statements about people and condemnations. Of course, we as believers, as Muslims too, have made mistakes in condemning others who are different from our faith. We've even gone so far that if my school of thought is different from yours, we have made comments against each other. This needs to stop. We need to be cognizant of our obligations, that at the end of the day, as different as my school may be, what is it that unites us on a platform that brings us towards equity and goodness and justice and balance, which is the religion of God? Not for me to be passing judgments or condemning people or killing them. Allah says, such people are not my followers. But it's interesting that even when I hear people like atheists who speak, they say at the end of the day, it's important for us to avoid evil and to promote good. SubhanAllah. So this shaitan that was created was not created to trick me. It is by the decree and the design of Allah that He doesn't take a shaitan to trick people. We trick each other all the time. Very good. Shaitan is a creation of Allah. We have shaitan in us. When we go to Surah Ibrahim, you might say, what's your proof? The 14th surah of the Quran. On Judgment Day, Allah is describing an individual who is going to be punished for having rejected the truth. What is the truth? Promotion of good, forbiddance of evil, and belief in Allah. That's the truth. So as he's being about to be punished, he turns to the devil, Shaitan, Iblis. He says, he made me do it. After all, at the end of the day, whenever we are caught, you ever notice a criminal, whenever they're caught, what do they want to do? They want to find somebody to blame. They've got to do anything possible to stop themselves from being incriminated or being put in jail. So look for someone to blame. So they turn, the Quran is showing me in essence. He says, he turns to Shaitan, Iblis, and says, he made me do it. Shaitan says, فَلَا تَلُومُونِي وَلُومُوا أَنفُسَكُمْ. Don't blame me. Blame yourself. I had no authority over you. Laysa min sultani. I had no authority over you. See? No authority. My only power God gave me is the power of suggestion. I suggested and you followed. That's all I could do. This whole idea of jinn possessing people, there's a jinn in this person, he's possessed. This notion of exorcism and possession is